This is the Authentic Sex Podcast, real-life conversations about sex, pleasure and relationships. I'm your host, Juliet Allen. Welcome to episode 128 of the Authentic Sex Podcast. My name is Juliet Allen. I'm a sexologist and a sex and relationship coach. And today it's just me on the podcast, like the good old days in season 1 where it was just me, no guest, just me talking to you about, well, today we're talking about pregnancy sex and keeping the intimacy alive in pregnancy. It's such a big topic and I don't think it's one that's covered enough. And as many of you know, I'm 32 weeks pregnant as I record this, nearing the end of a beautiful pregnancy, savouring every minute. And I wanted to record this while I was pregnant so that it's happening in real time, so that, you know, I'm experiencing all this alongside others who perhaps are listening and pregnant or who want to become pregnant. And so I really hope that you enjoy this episode. I'm going to answer some of your questions about pregnancy and pregnancy and sex, I should say, and just talk about my own journey of pregnancy and how it's been for me up till now. And, you know, it's still going. So it's just this big journey. And I want to share personally. And I'm doing this because I guess my intention is to inspire others to think outside the box when it comes to pregnancy, think holistically, and have great experiences. So yeah, that's a bit about today's episode. Thanks for listening, and I really hope that you enjoy everything that I say. This episode of Authentic Sex is sponsored by Yin. Yin is created by myself and a team of experts and is a holistic sexual wellness brand for conscious lovers. I am so excited to bring you this new brand that has been in the mix and in the making for at least 18 months now. It's been a project that I've been working on behind the scenes, and it's actually been, I've been thinking about the idea for the last 10 years, I would say. So I'm super excited to bring Yin into the world. Yin exists to support you to surrender into your true sexual essence with all natural lubricants, sensual body oils, and pleasure toys. And as a new brand, we truly believe that sexual exploration is about making contact with what comes most naturally to us. So we applied that thinking to Yin. All our products are 100% natural, organic. They won't interfere or irritate with your natural pH levels. Instead, we just choose all natural, safe and nourishing ingredients. And alongside the beautiful, the lubricants and the body oil is the Juliet Pleasure Wand, which is now stocked on the Yin website. And there's also a couple of really fun new toys on there for you to explore. So head on over to yinbody.com, YINN body, or you can find us on Instagram. It's at yinbody, and Yin is spelled YINN. So yeah, I'm 32 weeks and the pregnancy has been so beautiful and enjoyable. And I recorded 2 episodes prior to this. In fact, episode 126 and 127 are all about conscious conception, and I recorded them with my partner Nick. So if you want to backtrack before you listen to the pregnancy journey and you want to hear about the conception journey and all assets and facets of it, I should say facets, not assets, check out episode 126 or 127, which brings me to now. I'm, as I said, 32 weeks and loving it. And so, yeah, pregnancy and sex. You know, this is my second, it's my 6th pregnancy, but my second pregnancy that I've gotten this far. And so it's been a really great reminder for me personally as to how to navigate sex during pregnancy and what can come up, and bearing in mind also that it's such a unique journey for each pregnant woman and each man and each partner, doesn't matter which gender, who is also, if there is a partner, who is also navigating the whole arena of pregnancy and sex. So I'm sharing from my personal experience, not so much professionally today, but also keeping in mind that every person is going to have a different experience. So if yours isn't like mine, you don't relate, that's okay. This is not the right way to experience it. It's just how I've experienced it, and probably not what you're expecting either. So first trimester, my libido literally disappeared. And Nick and I joked, and we said, that we were going on long service leave. Our pussy and cocks were going on long service leave because we'd spent 8 months trying to conceive. We'd experienced 2 miscarriages, which we spoke about in episode 127. And the conception journey was really big for us. And as soon as we found out we were pregnant, it was like our bodies both actually just went into we can relax, we need some space. And so for first trimester, I don't think we had sex, I reckon a handful of times, to be honest. And this is being brutally honest with you. I was super tired, so tired during the first trimester. I didn't have morning sickness. I'm a blessed woman. Both pregnancies, I haven't had morning sickness. But I was so tired, literally on the couch, could not do anything. And so, sex wasn't a priority, and we were both really okay with that. So we were really happy just sleeping lots and enjoying each other's company in other ways. And then, as predicted in the second trimester, my energy levels did increase. Still, in general, I've had quite a tired pregnancy, I would call it, where I feel tired all the time. But in the second trimester, we had more sex and my libido increased, and so did Nick's. And we haven't actually had as much sex as usual during this pregnancy, but it definitely increased. So what I've noticed in our sex life is that, without going into heaps of detail, because, some things have got to stay sacred, but that we're not necessarily always having penetrative sex. We're doing other things. So, hand jobs, oral sex, mutual masturbation, etc. So we're fulfilling the sexual connection needs, I guess I would say, and we're fulfilling the need to move our sexual energy in our body and really acknowledge that it's there and that we feel like sex, but we're not necessarily always having as much penetrative sex. So that's been cool because, it's nice to connect in different ways, not just penis in vagina or penis in asshole, anus, whatever you want to call it. It's been nice to connect in other ways. So, but in general, I haven't felt as horny as I usually would. And, I'm completely okay with that. And so's Nick. We're both so never beat each other up or never beat ourselves up. Or we haven't during this pregnancy, I should say, about not having as much sex because we feel so connected in other ways. And so speaking to women whose libido is low or was low during pregnancy, it's okay. It's really okay. Our bodies are doing miraculous things when we're pregnant. We are making a whole new human. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of resources from our body. And if our bodies have lowered our libido, then we need to trust in our body that that's the right thing for us. And in saying that, some women get really, really horny during pregnancy, more so than when they're not pregnant. And that's also okay, and that's also really normal. You know, that's some women, that happens. And I can't recall what happened in my first pregnancy because it was like 15 years ago now. I don't know. So I can just go by this pregnancy and say that my libido's been lower. I'm sweet with it. But then I've got pregnant friends who are just having sex all the time and loving it. So either way, I think we need to be understanding and trust in our bodies and trust in our libido and trust in our baby and trust in the process. And trust that we all have a very unique experience. So, yeah, that's a bit of honest, I guess, sharing around our journey. Now I'm 32 weeks and getting heavier and bigger as that's what happens during pregnancy. And so when we do make love, often I'm laying on the side. The other day I was on top while Nick was in a chair. You know, there's all different ways that you can position yourself when you're pregnant to still enjoy sex. And again, our bodies are very different. So, you know, lots of people ask, what's the right position? And my answer is there is no right position, because for some of us, we may feel really comfortable still being in missionary during pregnancy, and for others we may not. And so trust in your intuition, trust in what feels right for you. Don't ignore signals when your body tells you it's not right. Listen to your body, listen to your baby, and enjoy. Before I get into questions, the Q&A, I want to talk about keeping the intimacy alive. You know, I really feel it's really important that we do, if we're in a partnership and pregnant, that we do prioritize intimacy during pregnancy. Because, by intimacy, I don't mean sex. By intimacy, I mean being intimate with each other in whatever way that looks. For some, that may be having sex or making love, whatever you want to call it. For others, it may just be prioritizing eating dinner together or waking up together and having a cuddle. You know, something Nick and I do is we eat dinner together most nights, and every morning, most mornings, I would say, nearly every morning, when we wake up, we cuddle straight away when we wake up. And if I wake up before Nick, I give him a cuddle. If he wakes up before me, he cuddles me. And that happens before we get out of bed. And for me, you know, that's it's important for me as a daily ritual to connect before we do anything else. And it doesn't always turn into sex. In fact, as you know, because I mentioned, we're not having heaps and heaps of sex right now, and that's cool. So we have a cuddle, we have a kiss, and then we get up. And so that's intimacy for us. But what I encourage you to do, you know, after listening to this, if you're wanting to prioritize intimacy more, or if you feel like perhaps the level of intimacy in your relationship has dropped, I recommend that you sit down and write a list of what you want to do or what feels good for you that encourages intimacy in the relationship and allows you to feel more connected to your partner. And then go and have the discussion with your partner and talk to them about what's important for you and how, you know, you could see that playing out and see if you're on the same page. And perhaps they'll come to you and have different ideas, and perhaps you can come up with an agreement of like a date night each week or something that you both love to do, and bring that into your life, because it is important to prioritize this now, especially before Bub's due and everything changes and, you know, you have less time to connect because Bub's there and or you know, this could be your second, third, fourth child, and it means that there's more of a parental workload. And so, yeah, prioritizing intimacy is so important. And remember, it doesn't have to just be sexual. That's so important to remember. So covered a bit about intimacy, and the other thing I wanted to cover is practicing sex magic during lovemaking when pregnant. You know, I've done another episode on sex magic, so I recommend going back and listening to that episode, because I'm not going to go into it heaps here. But what it is, if you're not familiar with the idea, is using the power of sexual energy to manifest what you want. So sharing again from what I have been practicing is when Nick and I make love, when I'm at the point of orgasm, I am enjoying it. It's like this natural thing that came. It really wasn't intentional, actually. It just started happening. But when I'm in that ecstatic point of orgasm and I'm connecting to my body and I'm connecting to Nick, I get these visualizations, and I consciously visualize birthing my child and birthing this baby through my vagina and lifting the baby up onto my chest and having this ecstatic experience. And every time we make love, I use the power of sexual energy to manifest this. And so this is a way that I've been preparing for birth. And you know, as I said, I'm still 8 weeks away of being like, well, you know, who knows when I'm going to give birth, but around 8 weeks. So who knows what's going to happen. I'm trusting in the process, and I'm trusting in the path that's already laid out for this baby's arrival into the world. But I'm also, you know, working my magic and using sex to do that. And I'm loving it. I feel the baby move in my womb when we connect, when I experience orgasm, and it's so beautiful to know that our baby is able to experience those feelings that I feel whilst in my womb. Like, it's just magic. You know, I just think, imagine being in your mother's womb and her experiencing such orgasmic bliss and pleasure. And I'm just loving feeling Bub's reactions and really like being consciously aware of the fact there is a child in my womb while I'm making love to my partner, and how beautiful that is. And so yeah, that's been a big part of the pregnancy, more so lately actually, when we make love. And yeah, I guess I'll keep you posted on the birth. Who knows? I guess on that note, we've done a lot of research, and we have done a lot of preparation for the birth, and we still are, and we're planning a beautiful home birth here in our house. And we've chosen our care provider as an independent midwife, so we have not been near a hospital for the pregnancy at all. We're not planning to be near one. We do understand that things may change and it's a mystery, but we are doing our very best to make conscious choices that have come from a place where we've researched and found out what feels right for us. And what feels right for us is to stay away from the hospital system and birth at home. And our midwife is just beautiful, and we've just found this beautiful doula who will also be at the birth and who will support us postnatally too. And yeah, so that's our choice. And you know, that choice isn't for everyone. So for some people, home birth doesn't feel good. and hospital birth feels far safer, and I respect each and every woman and couple's choice in what they choose for the birth of their child, and also acknowledge that it's a mystery and that anything can unfold and who knows what's going to happen for us. And no doubt we will share at some stage following the birth, not sure when, not sure how. It's such a sacred experience that no doubt we'll keep it close to our hearts for a while. But our reasoning for doing that is that I personally feel far safer not being in a hospital, and I birthed my first daughter in a hospital, and I didn't have the best experience. And since then have worked as a doula and really, really read a lot and learned a lot and been around powerful, amazing women who have shared their stories. And I'm not a fan of the medical system, whether it be for pregnancy or otherwise. I do believe there's a place for it, but for me it's not right. And so this pregnancy has been super cruisy. We see our midwife. She comes to our house. We have a cup of cacao with her, just chat, don't do much testing. We chose to have minimal ultrasounds. We've had 2 ultrasounds, that's it. We trust in the process, and we've had blood tests for iron because my iron was low, so we tested my iron, but we didn't do any other testing. And I haven't seen a doctor or no one in the medical system as far as to do with the pregnancy, that is. So it's been a really cool experience and super nourishing and relaxing, and I just can't wait to give birth. So it's just a little bit about our preparation for birth, and no doubt it will keep preparing over the coming weeks.
I have to interrupt this episode to let you know that today is sponsored by Pleasure School. Pleasure School is a monthly membership where together we study intimacy, conscious connections, and how to embody our true sexual essence. Every month, students of Pleasure School access members-only educational content across a wide range of formats, including written, audio, video, and guided home study. Pleasure School is led by myself, and I'm also joined by other teachers who are pioneering in the fields of sexuality, relationships, and holistic health. This is your chance to join a unique online school like no other in the world. Learn more and join Pleasure School at www.juliet-allen.com. That's JULIET-ALLEN.com.
So now I want to do some questions, because I did do a call out for questions on Instagram, and I'd love to answer some for you. So, I guess this one's good to start with. My partner has a huge cock and we have deep cervix squashing sex. Will this be an issue when we get pregnant? Plus, I have strong orgasmic contractions. So, I just want to preface this by saying that as a sexologist, pregnancy and sex is not my area I've studied. So I can give advice as a sexologist, obviously, but I would encourage you to also seek advice from your care provider, whether that's a midwife or an obstetrician, a doctor, whoever it is. I would also encourage you that you seek advice from the person who you trust that is managing your pregnancy. And I say manage, and I actually don't like using that word for pregnancy, who is supporting you through your pregnancy. I think it depends on you. In the first trimester of pregnancy, I didn't feel like much sex. My libido was low, like I mentioned, but I also was quite cautious of not wanting to have another miscarriage, and I think that actually played into my like lower libido because I didn't want to stir things up down there. So in regards to huge cocks, trust in your intuition. Perhaps try other ways of connecting sexually if it doesn't feel right, but also check in with your care provider and see what their opinion is. And remember, this is why it's so important we choose someone who we trust, who aligns with our health values, who is able to support us in having the pregnancy and birth that we desire, because then we respect their opinion. So perhaps ask them. Next question, sex positions for third trimester with a whale emoticon. I've covered this. You just got to find what works for you. Side lying is good, like spooning sex. Being on all fours I found is good. Your partner sitting on a chair and then you sitting on them can be really good one. Or just being on top. But, we all have such different sized bodies. Like, do what feels right for you. That's my advice. Next question is, with my first pregnancy, my libido was high, but second time, it's very low. Is this normal? Yeah, totally. We all respond in different ways and each pregnancy is different. And for some of us, we can have a super high libido and then the next pregnancy, it's not there at all, and totally normal. Just trust again. It just all comes back to trusting in your body and what signals it's giving you. This time in your second pregnancy, it's low for a reason. As long as you're eating healthy and you're moving your body and you feel like you're doing everything to contribute to having a really great, healthy body, then trust in your libido. If it's something that's worrying you, perhaps go to a naturopath and chat to them. But yeah, it's okay to have a low libido this time around, and just accepting is a good place to start. Next question. Has anything unexpected surfaced in this pregnancy that relates to your first pregnancy/birth? No, nothing unexpected. No, that's my answer to that. Whatever has arisen, I'm working through with my support team and the people in my lives who I trust to talk to and to feel supported by. But unfortunately, nothing unexpected has surfaced. Yes, things have surfaced, but nothing that I didn't predict and nothing that I haven't worked on prior to conceiving. Next question. I'm just looking through them. Sorry, I didn't prepare too much. This whole baby brain thing is actually real. Like, I thought it was just an excuse for pregnant mums. And then I got pregnant again and my brain feels like mush half the time. I cannot even believe I'm producing this season of Authentic Sex because I'm finding it hard to be organised. Anyhow, next question is, when we have a group sex or threesome, is it freaky to make pregnant? Assuming you're asking, is it strange to conceive whilst in a group sex situation? Well, let's be honest, babies are made in all sorts of situations. I don't think it's freaky. I think ultimately when a soul baby decides to come through, and perhaps if you've, conceived during group sex, that's when that baby chose to come through. And I don't think it's freaky. I'm kind of open to anything, really. So, no, I think I'm not sure exactly whether you're actually pregnant or whether you're planning on it, but do what feels right for you and trust that that baby will choose you at the right time. Next, how did Nick prepare for fatherhood? Thanks, that's a great question. And I'm not going to cover that because Nick's not here today for this recording, but you can hear all about it let me have a look on my laptop, episode number 126, which is part 1 of the conscious conception journey that we recorded together. And he goes in depth into how he prepared for fatherhood. So jump on over to that episode. Next question. Has sex during pregnancy changed your experience of pregnancy? How? No, it hasn't changed my experience of pregnancy. I think the best, the like most beautiful part of sex during this pregnancy is being able to use sex magic to really feel into manifesting what type of birth that we desire. And that's just so powerful. And so I'm loving that part of sex and pregnancy. And I'm loving that I can fully accept that my libido is a bit lower and be so okay with that and so content not making love every day, which is big for me because, I have quite a high libido, and when I'm not pregnant, I'm up for it most of the time. And so I'm actually really welcoming in this feeling of lower libido and enjoying how much less space it takes up in my head when I'm not thinking about sex all the time. So yeah, there's a bit of sharing. Next question. Tips for boosting your sex drive when pregnancy hormones make it so low. So it sounds like this person who's asked this has quite a low sex drive when they're pregnant. And if you want a higher drive, it just comes back to making sure stress levels are low, because stress always impacts our libido, pregnant or not. So working on stress levels, nutrition, eating really fresh, organic, if possible, produce, lots of protein, just, looking after and thinking about everything that you put inside your body is fueling your body and also going straight through to the baby. So looking after your body and doing that in your body and your baby, really, doing that by eating well and then exercising. I really highly recommend, not high impact exercise, but, I go walking. So I walk in the mornings, not every morning, and I'm slowing down now, but walking, and I was doing Pilates in the first and second trimester. So finding something you love to do that moves your body, and perhaps get some coaching or therapy, if it's really bothering you, just to see what's underneath it, but also accepting that your body's giving you a signal to rest and that not making love all the time is okay. Next question. Advice for someone who wants kids one day but is completely terrified of being pregnant. Okay, so my advice is to, before you get pregnant and before you plan on conceiving, to work on and find someone who you can do this with. And I actually recommend Jane Hardwick Collins. It's Jane, Jane, Hardwick, Hardwicke, Collins, Collings. Google her. She's a beautiful elder. She was a home birth midwife for 30 years and she now does one-on-one sessions with women. And she will help you get to the bottom of why you're terrified of being pregnant, and it will guaranteed come from childhood or your initiations in life as a woman, and Jane will be able to help you work through that. So I just recommend getting support, definitely. What else? I'm just looking through these and I've answered some of them. This one, I would bleed when I had sex while pregnant. What can you do to stay intimate? Good question. So if you don't want to have sex during pregnancy, and if you're bleeding and you know that's not something you want to happen, obviously, then what can you do? Well, I've spoken about intimacy earlier in this episode, but you can still have sex and not have penetrative sex. That's always something we need to be reminded of. There's so many ways to connect sexually without having anything inside our vagina. You could use a Juliet pleasure wand and self-pleasure. You could use the Juliet pleasure wand with a partner and just use it to stimulate your vulva and your clitoris. You can have oral sex, or there's so many ways. So listen to other episodes of mine where I give ideas on how to stay intimate without having penetrative sex, and do those. That's my advice. What else do I have here? I think I'm finished. I'll just go up to the top. How can I deal with an abortion in a holistic way? This is a big one, and yeah, my personal experience, I had a termination when I was 21, and the way I dealt with it was quite mature for my age. I consciously terminated a pregnancy, and I never thought I would, but I did, and it felt right, and it still feels right that I did that. What I did was I took myself to a counsellor. At the time I was at uni, so I went to a counsellor and got support, because, I could give advice here on a Q&A, but I don't know your background, I don't know the circumstance, so I don't want to actually give heaps of advice. What I want to support you in doing is finding someone to talk to outside of friendship circle and family who can really support you to make that decision and to do it in a conscious way. So if you do require someone to talk to, I'm not taking on clients at the moment for obvious reasons, but I can refer you to someone. So please email my team and they will send you through a couple of referrals that you can work with online. So thank you so much for your questions. I haven't been able to answer everybody's, and that is because I have a time limit on this episode, and I also feel that some of the questions have been answered in previous episodes. But I value the time it takes you to write to me, and I really hope that I've helped you in some way, whether it be by sharing my personal experience this far, or whether it be by Nick and I sharing. I really hope you're enjoying this podcast season. There's more episodes to come, and thank you for listening. And remember to listen to all the other episodes and leave me a review on iTunes if you feel inclined to, because that helps more people find us, and share with your community. And together, I think if we share content like this that's impacted us, if it has, then we can impact the lives of others too. And that's my main intention for creating these podcasts. So thank you. And also remember that I just launched Yin. Yin is a holistic sexual wellness brand for conscious lovers. And I'm super excited. It's just, I've been using the body oil on my pregnant tummy for the entire pregnancy, and my skin literally feels so soft and supple. And both Nick and I use the body oil every morning, like seriously every day for the last 18 months. We've been using it and trialing it, and coming up with the best formula. And then the lubes we use all the time, the oil-based is my absolute favorite. I'm just over the moon that I can bring you these natural products that allow you guys to feel more pleasure and not have shitty ingredients in there too. Have organic ingredients that nourish our body while we enjoy sex. So head over to Yin Body if you are curious about this new brand. It's yinnbody.com. This episode of Authentic Sex is sponsored by Yin. Created by myself and a team of experts, Yin is a holistic sexual wellness brand for conscious lovers. Yin exists to support you to surrender into your true sexual essence with all natural lubricants, sensual body oils, and pleasure toys. As a new brand, we truly believe that true sexual exploration is about making contact with what comes most naturally to us. So we applied that thinking to Yin. Our products won't irritate or interfere with your body's pH levels. Instead, we choose all natural, safe, and nourishing ingredients. You can learn more and make your first purchase at www.yinbody.com. That's spelt YINN. Or you can head on over to Instagram and the handle is at yinbody, and yin is spelt YINN. I am so excited to bring you this new brand. It's been years in the making and I cannot wait for you to get your hands on some new goodies.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Authentic Sex Podcast. If you love the show, please head on over to iTunes and leave me a review. I would also love it if you share the podcast with your friends, family, and your Instagram followers. Doing this together as a community, we can make an impact and support the world to feel more sexually empowered and free. And if you'd like to join me for daily updates and sex inspiration, find me on Instagram at Juliet, JULIET _Allen, ALLEN. You can also head on over to my website to join Pleasure School or purchase your very own Juliet Crystal Pleasure Wand. www.juliet-allen.com.